Hey guys, welcome back to Just Being a Mom podcast. And today we have a very special guest, my sister-in-law, Femi. She's here to talk about the transition from one baby to two babies because we know that can be like super difficult. And, so she's just here to talk about her transition and how she dealt with it and maybe give us some advice if you're pregnant now and you have a toddler. And we have another special guest, but he's very quiet today. Cousin Coltrane. He's so cute, you guys. But Femi's going to tell you all about the kiddos. So, Femi, what's going on?
Hi, Shelby. I'm so excited. I can't even tell you right now. It's my first time being on a podcast.
Okay.
And, I'm happy to be here to talk about the kiddos.
Yeah, so tell us about them.
So, Elliot is my firstborn. He's 4. And Cole is the newbie. He's about
new to the crew.
He's new to the crew. Cole, Coco, he is 6.5 months.
Okay.
So yeah, he's a newbie, and it's crazy because both of their birthdays are in February. Cole's birthday, my due date was Elliot's birthday, which is crazy.
Yeah.
He wasn't, he didn't end up being born on Elliot's birthday, but it was basically 12 days apart.
Yeah.
So it's kind
It's
of
gonna
cute.
be crazy birthday season.
It's double B days. So yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, how are they getting along?
So, it's weird because I didn't really think about, the newborn baby vis-a-vis the toddler, which is kind of crazy that I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
That I kind of didn't give myself space to think about that. My concern was, how am I going to take care of a newborn with a 4-year-old? It was sort of like my relationship vis-a-vis Cole as opposed to my relationship vis-a-vis Elliot with a new addition or like their relationship together. So I never really thought about it. I was just thinking about how am I going to navigate this situation? And, it had been 4 years since I had a newborn, and I was like, am I going to remember everything?
Yeah.
And I just didn't feel ready, because, having a toddler is really, really, it's a really tough sort of all-in process.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
And you just feel like, how can you be all in with this little guy and another little guy? So it was, that was where my focus was. And when we brought Cole from the hospital, immediately Elliot became my focus because more of a focus than I thought he would be because he was acting out, in a way that I just never thought about.
Yeah.
I guess there was all this buildup about this new baby coming and he wanted to see him and he wanted to hold him, which was great, but he's a 4-year-old. So, he's a little rough and just sort of charging in and this baby's so new and you're sort of in protective mode and I'm sure he was really jealous because all this attention was shifted to his baby brother, and it was just such a new experience for him. It was sort of jarring for him, and so that was like my biggest sort of shocker coming home from the hospital.
Yeah.
With Coltrane, it was, it's sort of, I went into autopilot in the sense of, that sounds kind of bad, but like autopilot of like getting up, breastfeeding, knowing what to do. It came back to me. It was, they're different babies, but, fortunately for me, the formula was the same, and that was a really good thing. But I was really worried about Elliot and his transition. Yeah. And I realized that it wasn't going to be as smooth as I thought.
Yeah. Yeah, because it could be so tough on them. That transition from, who's this new person?
And they don't really understand. And I think he thought, he was getting a little brother. He's like, cool, a new playmate. And then he's like, this guy's useless, know? What are you people doing?
He can't play with me.
Yeah. So it was tough in that sense. And, in 4-year-olds, you'll see. But the temper tantrums are real.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. So it was a weird it was a weird transition because you come home, you're really vulnerable, right? You're vulnerable because you just had a baby and you have all these sort of hormones going around. And what's so funny is I told one of my girlfriends that I came home and Elliot looked like a teenager to me.
Yeah.
He's 4 and he looked like a teenager to me. He looked so big. And I think that was a combination of the hormones, and it was a combination of me, like, sort of having this, like, new little, like, chicken nugget who was so small and comparing. And I just felt really overwhelmed, to be honest. I felt like, how am I going to do this? What's going to happen to me?
Yeah.
What's going to happen to Cole? What's going to happen to Elliot?
Dylan.
What's going to happen to Dylan? What's going to happen to my husband? I mean, there was a lot of other considerations before that, but for sure, sure. What's going to happen to my husband? I just felt, you know, and there were a few times where I just felt so overwhelmed and super emotional, and you know, and I learned, fortunately, from Elliot's, you know, after having Elliot, that like, that's okay and that's normal.
Yeah.
But I just didn't know if I could do the double combo.
Yeah.
But I'm doing it, so
flawlessly.
I mean,
doing
definitely not flawlessly, but I'm doing it. And it's so funny because our girlfriend who lives out of state just had a newborn, and she had, you know, she has a toddler, and she kind of texted and reached out and was just like, how did you do this? How do you navigate? And I felt it. I felt that energy because I was there. Yeah. I was there like 5 months ago. Yeah. I felt that sort of frantic sort of, what the hell is going to happen in my household? Yeah. And I just was like, calm down. You know, it's going to be okay. It is like survival mode. You do what you need to do to survive. And one of my girlfriends, who I reached out the same way when I was in that space, told me the same thing. And it was true. Yeah. So I think one of the biggest things about sort of this transition, or anyone, whether it's 1, 2, 3,
you
know, any sort of transition, I know, right? Any sort of transitionary period, I think reaching out to your squad, to your girlfriends, to anyone, you know, who can be a support system to sort of talk you down from the ledge and be like, it's crazy. This is a crazy time. It's going to be crazy for a while. Just do what you can to survive. You can do it. You're doing it.
Right.
I think that was really important for me.
That's awesome. So did you have help?
So my mom came, and you know, my mother-in-law came. So that was great. You know, it's a honeymoon period where everyone's here helping and cooking, and then everyone leaves you, and then you're like, shit. So what do I do? Yeah, what do I do? But I was grateful for that for a while. Obviously, it was like amazing, and you know, I was able to get some sleep, but then it got harder, you know, because then you really realize you're on your own, and you have to deal with the no sleep, and you have to deal with a toddler. It's, you know, who is still wants your attention, still wants you to read books
still
to him,
play.
Still wants you to play, and I felt so guilty. I felt so guilty. I felt like such a bad mom with Elliot because I felt like I wasn't giving him the attention that he needed and wanted, and he was little. He was 4, and he was, you know, and that was a tough transition for me. So Dylan and I really tried to work together to give each other some time, like sort of hand off Cole, so that we could give Elliot some individual time.
That's
so
nice.
It's like, you know, after I finished breastfeeding, I gave Coco to Dylan, and I was like, Elliot, let's draw a picture. Elliot, let's do a puzzle. And I thought that was really important because you could see he was craving that, and it just made me feel terrible. Yeah.
Well, he's fine.
He's totally fine now. Yeah. He's like, get away from me, Mom. But
totally
at that time, he was definitely, and that's the thing. I think that the thing that's so important to remember of all of this is like, nothing lasts forever, good and bad, right?
Yeah.
Like, these are phases, and they come and they go. But in the moment, they feel like they're going to last forever. Yeah. Especially the bad moments, and they don't.
Yeah.
You know, he's so different from when, you know, Cole came home. He's, you know, and he's adjusting. Kids adjust in a way that is just so brilliant. It's so freaking brilliant. and you know, you can see the love in his eyes.
Oh, yeah.
And he just loves him. He just plays on him. You know, I always have to tell him, be a little gentle, be a little gentle.
Yeah.
Because he's a toddler and he's rough, but, like, you know, he loves that he has, like, a new partner. And I know he'll obviously love it more when Cole can play with him a little bit more.
Yeah. So tell us about how it was, like, when you were pregnant. And, like...
Oh, my God.
that, like, leading up, was it hard to, like, run after this toddler and be pregnant? And, like, how did that whole transition for you go?
I really liked being pregnant with Elliot, like, my first pregnancy. And, you know, my husband's always like, no, you didn't. And I was like, no, I did. I really did. And one of the reasons why I really liked it, I just love when people, like, love on you when you're pregnant. They're just so nice to you.
Yeah.
And, you know, living in New York, I mean, you got to take it when you can.
Yeah.
People give up their seats. Some people, not everyone. But, like, you know, people just, there's, like, this sort of, like, unspoken, like, community vibe energy of looking out for pregnant women. Yeah. So I love that. I eat it up. Like, I would get pregnant again just to get that attention, but I won't. So with Elliot, it was great. I could sit and watch Lifetime and eat snacks and just nap on the weekends and just live my best life pregnant. With Cole, it was not like that because I was taking care of a toddler and, you know, we still had to go to the park and we, you know, I had to make sure that dinner, you know, was at 6:00 and, you know, doing bedtime. So I was a lot more exhausted. But it's interesting. And it's just, you know, you realize this anyway with a newborn. It's like, you realize that, like, how much energy you have, you know, how much, like, if it has to get done, it has to get done. Yeah. And that's what you realize, like, you never think that you would be able to be up all night with a newborn. Guess what? You can. Yeah. And you do it. Yeah. You know, you just kind of just go into, like, just this mode, right? Yeah. Like, mommy mode. You never really thought you had it in you. And that's kind of what it was during the pregnancy. Cole's pregnancy wasn't as easy as Elliot's, you know. It was, I definitely was tired a lot more and I was sick a lot more. Yeah. But I almost, like, it was like I did more because I had to. Yeah. So I kind of, like, dug a little deep. And Dylan was amazing. Like, it's always so like, thank God, you know. And I know that, you know, and I know how privileged and lucky I was to have, you know, a really supportive partner, because not everyone does have that, and they have them in different forms. And he was just really, you know, we shared the work, which was great. Yeah, that's awesome. Dylan's really helpful, you guys. Oh my God, so what's, like, one of the biggest things you would say for that mom, like, getting ready to transition into about to have that baby and about to do that second child thing? What's the biggest thing you would give that mom? I would say spend a lot of time with the kiddo, the first one, and just, you know, because it's gonna be a different dynamic, you know. So spend that time, do your thing, and really spend that quality time and sort of figure out ways how you can try and carve that in afterwards. I think that's really important. Yeah. And I feel like if I knew then what I, you know now, I would have really, you can never prepare for that, but I really would have tried to, like, be intentional about that, and take time for yourself whenever you can, because it's a roller coaster and it's going to be tough. But, like, I would say, you're doing it, you can do it, and reach out to, you know, your girlfriends, your boyfriends, whoever, you know, any friends who can support you and sort of lift you up and be like, this is temporary. Yeah. Because it, you know, it can be rough at times, but it's kind of beautiful and magical at the same time, you know, when you're not wanting to tear your hair out. No, it really is seeing siblings together and seeing that sort of other person in the house. It's a beautiful thing. That's awesome. Fimi is literally one of my best moms
the best mom that I know. So I want to thank her for being here with us today. She's just the best mom. She's so easy, laughs everything off. So I really look up to her. But thanks for joining us today, guys, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye. Say bye.